Welcome back to another video, traders, and if you're new to the channel, welcome to Trading Trends. We got a great video today looking at Intuitive Surgical Inc. ISRG. This is another video that was requested by one of our commenters. Shout out to Abel, who's requested a few videos. He's our resident biotech expert. He usually has some good picks. So this stock is a revenue monster. We've looked at it a few times before. We're going to look at it again as it's making new all-time highs, but let's get into the chart. Okay, this is the chart for ISRG. We're on a 4-hour, 180-day chart here. We're going to zoom out in just a minute because you really have to see the longer time frame to get the perspective on this stock. But I just wanted to do a little bit of a recap. The last time I did a video on ISRG, it was right around April, I believe, and we were looking at this earnings report and basically breaking out of a new all-time high. The previous, this was kind of our resistance point here at 819, and we had tested it a few times, kind of a little pop through a few times here in this lower channel here. Try and ignore this upper green line for now. This lower channel was our growth channel here, so this was popping out of the top, honestly, and coming up into resistance, finally coming back down, bouncing off the back of the channel and into this earnings report, which was another solid one. This is a revenue monster, and they consistently do not disappoint with their revenue numbers. They broke through and just shot up from 819 almost to 900. The next day pulled back, gave up almost half of those gains, and eventually slowly worked their way back down into what has become the support at 819 and also the top of this growth channel here, and they found support there. So incredibly bullish. This is their top line growth channel in the medium to shorter term over a very long time frame, and now they're finding support here. So they're out and above their growth trends and they have support, and they eventually more recently worked their way back up, and I'll zoom in a little bit here, coming through to this level again, which was the new all-time high around 892, and broke through it pretty easily here with a little 1 day back test, and just started chugging along, looking for more and more gains. And so now more recently on this time frame, we appear to be coming into this green line here, which is our top line long-term growth trend line. We really don't get above this, and so we're seeing a little bit of resistance going back to 720, getting close the first time. The next day, a huge drop off, but immediately coming back in the afternoon. And all this growth, remember, for the past, going back to beginning of June, so the past 2 months, fairly steady, consistent growth here. This is amid quite a bit of market volatility. If you look back and think about larger indexes, ISRG has just been chugging along, and so now coming in to the top of this growth line again on Friday and finding a little bit of resistance. But let's zoom out now and get the longer term perspective. So here's the 1-year chart, and now you can see that there's actually a bit more room there when we look at this, because this is a long term. Remember, this is our short term or shorter term growth trend channel. It goes back to last August, end of August, beginning of September last year. So this growth trend channel is less than a year old. It's still a very strong bullish channel that we've seen steady solid growth when we're within the channel, and a little bit more volatile spikes sometimes outside of the channel. But let's zoom out just a little bit farther to this 5-year chart, so you can see this goes back all the way to 2016 when this stock really started to move from around 240. Now it's pushing 1,000, and as you can see, we've not been above this trend line here, going back to the previous all-time high from October 3rd, 2018, where we found major resistance there and really didn't break out of that level for a couple of years, going up until last July. And then that's after the pandemic. And again, guys, just look here at this bottom line of these revenue reports, really going back 3, 4, 5 years. there hasn't been a miss on these revenue reports except this one that came immediately after the beginning of the pandemic. Obviously everybody had a bad report after that. The economy was in a very uncertain situation, and people just stopped spending money there for a couple of months. So if you're not familiar, Intuitive Surgical sells very expensive surgical equipment. So they recovered sharply along, with most of the rest of the U.S. economy, and eventually they are finally, in last July, broke through that level around 579, and that's when we kind of got into this more recent growth trend channel. But as you can see, going back to 2016, so 5 years now, we've not been above this top growth trend line, and I'd be very surprised if we break above it now. So what does that mean for us? Let me zoom back into the 1 year chart. It means that we still got a little bit more to go. I think, on this chart, you can get up to 1050 or even 1100 depending on the pace. Around the end of this month, it's closer to 1100 let's see, this is the beginning of October, really. So depending on this timeline here, yeah, I think there's a little bit more that we're going to get out of this here, another 100 points at the most, before we probably come back down to earth, find some support. And I wouldn't be surprised if after these gains that we've seen, you go into another consolidation area for a couple of years. I don't know, maybe they'll do another split. They did a 3-to-1 split back here in 2017 around September, October, and the stock price was getting, it was about in the same neighborhood. They split down to about 300, so it must have been around $900, $1,000 pre-split. And so that was 4 years ago. They're back to where they've been. So, this would have been a pretty darn good long-term investment 4 years ago to triple your money. But hey, nobody has the foresight or the patience to sit through this kind of stuff here. So anyway, there's a little bit more room until we get into the top of this, and then I would expect to see a rejection similar to the ones that we've seen in the past, coming into this top line and finding our way back into some previous support lines. So we've got a little bit farther to go, but we are coming into the top of the range here, and as I said, it's probably going to be another month or two, and 1100 is probably the most that you're going to see out of ISRG for now. If anything changes with that, we'll update again. But yeah, just a revenue machine that's been doing incredibly well and is now finally starting to get up into the top of its realistic price ranges for now. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. It really helps out the channel, and comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this stock. Do you guys follow? I'm surprised this isn't a more mainstream name. Just incredible numbers, but I don't know, maybe surgical equipment isn't as exciting as some other biotechs that have been in the news lately, COVID vaccines or whatever. But every time, and Abel, I think, has mentioned this to me 2 or 3 times now, every time we looked at it, they've just been making incredible gains, going back to, let's see, last July, from 577, it's up 400 points. So certainly one to keep an eye on. And yeah, just because we're getting close to the top of that range, it doesn't mean that it's slowing down just yet. There's still some more steam left in the tank on this one. So let me know what you guys think about this stock in the comment section. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Appreciate all the support, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you next time.